Welcome. This is a special meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. It is March 22nd, 7 o'clock, or March 22nd, 2023 at 7 o'clock. Let me go ahead and read the item of due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirements that meetings be held in public places open and physically accessible to the public, so long as the measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number 840-0877-2826 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting, and the meeting's been called to order. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. I see Colleen as well. All right, this is good. We've got everybody here. I want on the agenda, it's just like really two items. Really, go ahead.
Don't we have to vote on the warrant articles?
Yeah, hold on. That's what I was just going to say. So there is now a third item with regards to the warrant article. So instead of approving the agenda, we need to edit the agenda so that after the public hearing, the committee can meet and go over the warrant articles. So can I hear a motion to, unless anybody else has any changes to an agenda? Does anybody else have any changes?
Nope.
Can I hear a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
All right, Colleen made the motion. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Barry seconds. All right, let's do the roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Aye.
And the chair says aye, so that's unanimous. All right, thank you.
Hey, I
All
didn't
right.
get a vote.
Oh, wait a minute. Jason, I'm sorry, you're in the other side corner. Oh, I'm sorry, and Jason?
Yes.
Okay, now it's unanimous. Thank you. I gotta move my screens around. It's like I'm going this direction. Sorry. All right. The next on the agenda is the public hearing. So I would like to go ahead and now open the public hearing. With that, I'm going to read the legal notice that was requested for March 10th and March 17th. It was, all right, it's the notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B, that the Ayer Community Preservation Committee will hold a virtual public hearing via Zoom on Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023 at 7 p.m. The purpose of this meeting will be to review the application from the Ayer Parks and Recreations Department for CPA funds to help support Phase 2 of the Peroni Park Playground, also known as Kitty Junction project. All residents, members of the general public, and any persons interested or wishing to be heard may call 978-772-8220, extension 100 during business hours prior to the meeting for the Zoom meeting information. Signed, Community Preservation Committee, Janet Providakis, Chair. Again, that was posted on the 10th and on the 17th. All right, I'm going to go ahead and this is for the Phase 2 of Peroni Park, and let Jason take it over. Go for it.
Thanks, Janet. We've got a slide deck. It's slightly altered from the last one everybody's seen, and I think there's at least one person here that hasn't seen it. So just by way of introducing myself, Jason Mayo, Chairman of the Park Commission, also member of CPC. I'm going to be presenting with Jeff Thomas, Parks Director. We're going to sort of both be speaking through this presentation, and then, obviously there's some questions. I saw Beth had sent an email before the meeting too, so I'm sure she's going to have some questions too, so we want to make sure we get those addressed. But first, let me just share the PowerPoint. Go into that. All right, so I'm going to let Jeff talk about this first slide, which is basically the budget to date. I just want him to talk about what we've done so far, and then we're going to go through the estimates for the phase 2 build and sort of why we've changed the strategy from doing it in multiple phases to just banging out in now 2 phases. Then we can talk about the timeline. Actually, we'll talk about funding sources and the timeline, and then we can talk about some conceptual designs and where we're going to go from here. So I'll let Jeff kind of bring everybody up to speed with the project and talk about, you know, these numbers here. We don't need to go through every single one of them, but.
Okay, thanks, Jason.
Jeff, over to you.
So as you can see on this budget sheet, the items on the left are the appropriations that we've able to procure over the last 2 years. So the first one was for a remediation study, just to get an idea of what it would take to get this site remediated. Just to backtrack a tiny bit without getting too into the history of the project, this was all necessitated on the discovery of arsenic in the ground and in the wood in 2006. So from that time, there's been a desire to try to remediate this area and then try to find what we can do with it. So after many years, the commission decided to go ahead and try to at least get a study done. That study showed what it would cost, or at least estimate to cost, to clean up the site, and then how much it might cost to rebuild the playground, depending on what you put there. So we were able to get the $20,000 at the first 2020 town meeting. And the following 2 town meetings after that, we were ready to go after that study. And we came up with the amount we thought we would need, somewhere around $800,000 to do both the remediation and at least do a phase 1, we were calling it at the time, of rebuilding part of the playground and putting in at least some of the play areas, before then hoping to get some grants or other types of funding to take care of the rest at a later date. So we were able to get $400,000 from CPC at the 2022 last year's town meeting, and an additional $320,000 from capital planning. Afterwards, we were able to get another $100,000 from the state, a state grant, which is a reimbursement grant, but we're really happy to get that, and have been continuing to look for sources since then. So after procuring that money, we went forward with the remediation process. The first thing we ran into was an order from Mass DEP to close the playground, which obviously put us in a difficult situation, because that pretty much handcuffed us and made us move forward on their schedule, not ours. So after that was done, our company that we hired, Beta, took charge of trying to do the work that needed to be done. A company was hired, Horizons, Brighter Horizons Construction. And you can see on the right some of the costs that went into doing all of that, and then some of the design of the playground that followed afterwards. So as of this date, we are done with the remediation process. That was completed a month ago. Officially, we got a clean bill of health. Our consultant was able to send a notice off to Mass DEP that we're all set to go, and he has cleared the site for future development. So that came at a cost, about where we thought it would be, maybe a little bit more, but that left us with about $550,000 from the original funding, and that's where we stand today.
Any questions on the remediation or anything like that?
I don't have any.
So this is a big sheet, so obviously there's a lot that goes into this, but let's take a step back before we talk about this sheet. So the original plan was to go in multiple phases and find different ways to fund this project and everything. And we started getting into that. We started getting into the concepts with the design. team with Beta and everything. And really, we came to the conclusion that costs are increasing. So what we thought we might be able to build a few years ago when we started this isn't just going to be enough. And they're just going to keep on increasing. So we got together with town leadership and kind of said, well, why don't we just do it all? It's just going to be more money if we try to do it in phases, multiple phases. The grants, it'd be great to get, but they're not guaranteed and they're a lot of work to get. So let's just find alternate funds, find funding sources that we already have access to that are more certain. And let's just get a number from Beta and go forward and do the rest of the build. Just get it rebuilt and let's go. So the remediation done, the sort of phase 2 is just the full rebuild of what we want to put there. So we asked Beta for a bid. This is this first column. I'm just going to go right down to this bottom. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this line here, they said 1.8 million for the full bid. We said, well, let's think about that again. We highlighted some things that we could do in-house to save us a lot of money. Like they had benches for 22,500. We said, well, we could probably do some, at a fraction of that cost. So let's identify items that we can procure through the town or do projects in the park department. And let's also ask Beta to sharpen their pencil a bit. So they did. They went back to their vendors and their suppliers and stuff and came up with a different number. We shaved a bunch off, and so we're down to 1.5 for the rebuild. Then we subtract the 550,000 that we have from carryover, and we're left with funding of about 966,000. Obviously these are to the penny round numbers. We're going to say 970,000 thereabouts. We're going to bid it out. We took out some things that we may be able to bid out with some add-alts. We haven't decided. It's all really going to depend on the funding and how things go, but we'd like to bid it all for the full bid here and not have to do add-alts, but that remains to be seen. We're pretty confident that we're going to be bidding it out with the full bid there. So this got resubmitted in our application. And so, we're looking at requesting CPC funds or CPA funds of about $750,000. You can see we added our carryover in here for what we have. There's going to be some contingency also, so we'll throw the carryover at that. I mean, this is obviously the exact accounting of all of this is going to be determined through the town accountant's office and everything, but this is sort of what we're asking, which brings us to about 1.5 million, which should hopefully cover everything that we want to build here. And just the way we're going to bid it out is we're not going to bid it for a construction company to go and procure the equipment and install it. We think we're going to be able to buy it. What's the website? Mass. What's the website? It's Mass.
Combis.
Combis. We should be able, the supplier that Beta is working with for the materials is set up with them. So we should be able to get the specs from Beta, go directly to them and buy them. So we can eliminate the markup and everything. And then we can, buy them through there and we can just have them shipped to the site, and then we'll bid out basically the construction of the site. So we hopefully we can take advantage of some savings by doing it that way. And I'll let Jeff talk about the timeline and sort of where we're at with Beta and where we're going next.
Thank you, Jason. So for the timeline, we were able to complete the project as we discussed, the remediation part of it, and are now into the funding for the next phases. Or as Jason mentioned, we're now just calling it phase 2, the rebuilding part of it, instead of excessive phases. In April, we're hoping to go to town meeting and come up with the $966,000 that's projected to be needed to do the entire rebuild of the playground. Assuming that does happen, our next step would be to use the CPC funds to purchase the equipment, which is probably about half of that funding. The reason why we would like the CPC funds for that is because those would be immediately available after town meeting, as opposed to capital planning funding, which wouldn't be available until July 1st to the start of the fiscal year. So we'd like to be able to utilize those funds to get those purchases made right away. We're told that it could be as much as 16 weeks from the time you order it until it comes out. At that time, we're also already working with our friends at Beta and Dan from DPW to put together a RFP to put out immediately following town meeting, assuming we get the funding, to try to get a contract bid that's acceptable, and then we can actually get that bid accepted in May and then start construction as early as June, assuming we start having that equipment coming in by that time. Now, as I said, it's really going to depend on when we get that equipment delivered. And of course, the winning bidder has to be able to be available. So that timeline is very aggressive. The more realistic one is probably a September start and an October finish, or August start and an October finish. If I was to speculate the most reasonable guess, that's probably what it would be. But we do anticipate this being completed in 2023.
Thanks, Jeff. So the next slides here, they're just sort of the conceptual drawings that we had. And again, we went through the process of having public forums. We had people meet down at the park. We talked to different groups. We had a public meeting at the high school and other, a couple public forums now through the CPC process and stuff. And this is sort of what this is just the main playground, so to speak, the playground itself. There are aspects that are yet to be determined, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but there are other aspects that are beyond the original footprint of the playground that we're calling adventure play and nature play. And we're going to hopefully take advantage of some natural materials that we already have down there, like logs and rocks and things. And we'll have to procure some other equipment for that too, but it's sort of gonna. We're still working on that design. So, but that's what we got to present. And open it up for questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Jason and Jeff. I really do appreciate that. One thing that I want people to be aware of, the monies that are, held over, that 552,000, that does still, contain CPC funds. But you got to remember, the first warrant that was developed did say remediation and restructuring of the playground. So those monies are available to go ahead and keep, building. So even though it is, leftover monies, it is being used for what the first warrant phase 1 states. So I just want to make sure people were aware of that. And then so that was one thing that I've heard from people in town saying, okay, great. They're looking to go ahead and, ask for additional CPC funds over the 400,000, but it's all being used for the same playground, just in different components of it. So, all right. I know that I've gone through, the application and such, and again, this is something, and I'm glad you guys emphasize on how many people, and I know it's in your application, and the application is available on the website for CPC fund requests. So if you go to Ayer's website, all the application and the presentation and everything is available out there. On that application, how many individuals you say use the playground?
Well, we don't have a finite number, obviously, but if I was to estimate, it would be anywhere between 7,500 and 10,000 per year.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want people to to realize, that it has taken, I mean, I can see Julie, face of saying it's taken a big bite, that, it had to get closed and everything. But so it's definitely missed. And the other thing too, that when people are asking about, the cost factors and such, I know that we've spoken about it before, that all the materials and everything else like that have tripled. And if we just wait any further and try to, see what else we can do, it's probably just going to keep going up. And then you all know that this is all going to be ADA compliant. And maybe hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but with that, you've got to look at rules and regulations. Everything's got to be set to certain standards. Again, some of the people in town have asked, well, we put it together the last time, well, it's true, but times have changed. I mean, you've got to make sure when something is compliant, it's got to meet the standards and it has to be, evaluated and such. So you need to have professionals with insurance and all that to go ahead and put it all together. Am I pretty much right with that, Jeff?
Absolutely. And the surface material alone is nearly $500,000, which is, it's a premium type of material, but it's something that at this point, almost all reasonable play areas are trying to go toward, because it's both ADA compliant and safety compliant. It fulfills both. And it's a foam type of material that holds up in weather. So it's an absolute premium, but at the same time, a necessity if you're trying to fulfill both ADA and safety requirements. Which
I know, Beth,
chips
you
and
had-
gravel don't do it anymore.
Right. Beth, you had sent an email about that right before the meeting. You had a question about possibly revisiting those costs. Let me see. Let me bring it up.
Right, just because it's such a large area, and I certainly understand, that it is a highly utilized surface and that it provides the accessibility, but it also, there's a lot of concerns about contaminants from it now, and also that if it could be partially reduced. And even I feel like, and again, I was part of the, the committee in the early design work when we did have more public process. And I just feel like it's been a long time since there's been much discussion of the design. And I have, because, I don't attend your meetings, the Park and Rec Commission meetings. And so I've just been out of the loop, and I just feel like it's such a high cost, and really that there's quite a bit of space in between elements of the playground. And I wonder if marking out an area to show where the components of the playground are, and having us go out there and experiencing that and understanding how much poured in place is really there as we travel between one area to another, to really get a feel for the physical distances and the physical space. I mean, it's just a lot of money. And if we could somehow cut down on the poured in place surface, I think we could have a better result and more landscaping and a lesser cost. So I just really want to think about that. And I don't want to hold up the question of this funding vote or of advancing towards town meeting at all. I just want us to really think about the design well, and really feel it, like get out there and feel what that layout looks like on the ground.
So I think you're looking at something like this, right? And it seems
Right.
like it's really small. And maybe cut like some of the poured and play, keeping it like cut it closer
Exactly.
to the equipment.
And that you would
maybe,
think
like, do some
about
grass,
any,
like edge that with grass. Yeah.
yeah, and that you would think about other surfaces that, we might want an accessible route from one area to another and things, but that the whole place doesn't have to be poured in place. And the engineered wood fiber, I think that's the proper term, is ADA compliant as well. It's much, much cheaper. It doesn't have the carcinogens and all the contaminants that this does. And so, really to try to incorporate maybe some of that in more lawn and vegetation plantings of other things too would be nice and cheaper.
So, yeah, no, I get it. So like this gray area, I believe it's intended to be asphalt.
It is.
Is that right, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so then just so everybody knows kind of what Beth is referencing, the brown area, in earlier versions, it was like a, I don't know, colorful thing, but this is that poured and play. That's that surface that gets poured underneath there at different depths, depending on what the equipment is, because it's got to, it's soft. It absorbs, if somebody falls, it absorbs some of the, the energy and everything. So I don't think that's unreasonable, Beth. And, we're not like at a final design phase with Beta that we can't go back and talk this through. And I would imagine that having Beta come out one more time to the site would probably be reasonable, Jeff. I mean,
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
going to have to come out and do some final measurements and everything. So, we can talk to Randy about setting something up like that to sort of do some blocking and marking of things.
Absolutely. And that will be part of it. And Beth, I hope you got that email that I sent you before, inviting you to work with Randy on some of these elements, because I couldn't think of anyone better to do it, to be honest. But for this particular thing, that's the material you're talking about. I did not recognize that was an ADA compliant material. So if that's true, that's actually, a possibility. And I think that the Parks Commission, Jason could speak on this more than I could, at least entertain revisiting that one more time to look it over. I'm just, astounded at what the cost of that material was.
Right.
I knew it was going to be expensive, but when we were told what it was just, I couldn't believe it. But then Beta, without any axe to grind, it's not like they, get a kickback from these people that do port in place, but they were, saying that that's pretty much where, if you really want to go with the safety and the ADA compliance, that's the best way to go. But maybe, like you said, making that footprint smaller, maybe that's the way to do it, and having some type of material built in from that. So I think a big part of what you're saying is that, it's a good thing to go there and visit. And I don't know if anyone's been there recently since the remediation and the fencing has come down. Now is actually a pretty interesting time to go there, because it does allow you to finally get more of a concept of where things might be able to go with that. So yes, that will happen. And certainly you and others would be more than welcome to come and offer some thoughts on that too.
Great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and think, and I'm also happy to help with the nature adventure play, thoughts and design as well. But I would encourage, like some opportunity for more public process as well, and that it can only help, even to go into town meeting with more people being aware of what the proposal is, and, being able to get excited about it. So.
It sounds like a plan. All right. Anybody else from the committee got questions?
Nope.
No. No.
But I think it's
Julie?
something we need to do. So,
Well, no, I know Julie was on mute.
Barry can go. I'll go after.
Go ahead, Barry.
oh no, I just think that I support the project, and I think it's something that we need to help see it through. We can't delay the project any more than what it has been. So.
All right. Sounds
Yep.
good, Julie.
Similar messaging. If you have any of those meetings, I would love to come to hear and learn with you. I mean, you've done that throughout this process, but I just would continue to want to be enjoying hearing about that. And now my door just opened. I just want to say thank you. It has been a huge miss, and it's not on anyone in particular. I'm actually often saying in these, as we're planning and learning and looking in these board meetings, I'm often thinking of ways we can share with other towns. This has been an interesting one for me. I've been at a lot of playgrounds in the other towns because we got to get the kid running around somehow. It's not the same. There's something to having your community playground and to be able to have your kids go down where they know the other kids and where they bump into a classmate they normally don't get to play with. And it's just a really special thing to have in your community, a fantastic playground and space. And my kids play with many of your kids here. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm so grateful you put the time and thought and effort into it, Jason and Jeff and everybody involved, and Beth with all of your expertise there too. So I'm looking forward to it, and I very much support the process.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, that's great to hear. I know I do as well. And one thing I do want to emphasize to people that, when there are CPC funds and if it is left over, it goes back to that CPC fund category. It does not go to any type of general fund. It is still, within that. So if it's not spent, it stays within the CPC, or CPA, fund. So with that, if there is a way that the footprint is smaller and they end up saving additional funds, I think that again, will help out. Nobody else from the committee? I know we do have Sarah, who's here as public, and we don't know whether or not I've got any other public participants. But Sarah, do you have any questions?
Nope, I don't have any questions. I did grab the materials off the town website, so I enjoyed having the materials before the hearing so I could follow along. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. And if anybody else, like listening to this afterwards, because like I say, it's going to be Zoom and taped and such. If you do have any other questions, definitely reach out to Jeff, the Parks and Recs director, as well as, if you got questions, CPC, just reach out to me via my town web email. If there's no other questions, I know I look at Jess all the time when it comes to this part. I think I need to have a motion from the committee to move this, or first of all, to move this application for $750,000 for the phase 2 of the the playground restoration. Move it to town meeting. Can I hear a motion to?
I will go ahead and make the motion to move this forward to town meeting.
All right, Colleen makes the motion.
I'll second it.
Barry seconds. All right, let's do the roll call. Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes,
Colleen,
Yes,
Beth,
Yes.
Bess,
Enthusiastically, yes.
and Jason, you get to vote because it's not something that only you will be able to enjoy. It's
Oh, well, I might put a gate up there, but yes, thank you.
all right, and the chair says aye, so it's unanimous. All right, Jeff and Jason, we'll be seeing you on, what is it, April 24th? Have all your slides and everything ready, so when we go ahead and get up there and make the presentation, you'll have all the facts and such. We're going for it. You're on mute, Jeff.
Thank you very much, everybody.
I thought you were doing the presentation, Janet. I'm sorry, I had mistaken it. No.
No, I do I do, but you're funny. I usually do, but I'm going to need backup.
Just kidding.
Thanks. All
When do we
right.
get our sign that says this project is funded by CPC?
I already have one ready for you.
Nice. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you for all your hard work. All right. Moving on then. Woo, this is good. It would be nice to be able to have something like that for the end of the year. Imagine seeing the snowmen and the trees with the new park, the new playground down there. That's going to be pretty impressive. I think so. It's the little things that, whatever. All right, moving on. I need to go ahead and close the public hearing. All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Jess
Second.
made and Beth second. Barry,
aye,
Colleen,
aye,
okay, Julie,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Jason,
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
And chair says aye. Everybody moved around because people left, so. All right, so unanimous, the public hearing has now been closed. All right, next on the amended agenda is to review the warrant articles. Do we want to just first do the one for the playground?
Sure.
Okay. I don't see, I mean, it's pretty straightforward from what we had last time. That to see if the town will vote to transfer from the open space category the sum of money not to exceed $750,000 to support the Peroni Park Playground project or take any action thereon or relation thereto. I don't see anything. Does anybody see anything? Nope.
Do we have these to review while you're going over them? Or
I mean, I sent them to you.
you did?
Email.
Yeah.
Maybe if you could
I
just resend them, because I don't see them.
And I can forward mine right now.
All right.
Thank
'Cause
you.
Yeah, I sent it to the Air address and your Gmail address.
Okay, maybe I'm in the wrong one then. Sorry.
Because the Hotmail one is full.
Right.
Jess, you mind doing it?
Yep, I'm doing it. Oop,
All right, thank you. Resend the one that I just, that I had just resent because I got the dollar amount. Thank you.
You sent one with a dollar amount?
I did. I got dollar amounts later on this afternoon for the disbursements.
I just found it, so thank you. I see the one from today.
I don't see one with a dollar amount, so.
All right, I can share it.
Oh, wait, no, I got it now.
Well, I mean, no matter what, I should probably share it. Hold on. Let me open it.
Well, before you get to the dollar amounts, we should probably close out the vote on the Peroni Park one.
Right, but I mean, let me just, I've got them all together, so let me, bear with me. All right, this is the Peroni Park one right here. Can you see it?
Mhm.
Okay. So does anybody have any discussion with regards to that warrant article?
Yep.
All right, so let's have a vote to accept that warrant article as written.
Motion to accept that warrant article for the Peroni Park Playground project as written.
Seconded.
All right, Julie seconds. All right, let's do roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Beth?
Yes.
Colleen?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Jason?
Aye.
I gather that's an aye. And the chair says aye, so it's unanimous. Excellent.
Who was it who seconded that one? Julie?
Me, Julie.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Now, the disbursement one, the email that I received said that the Department of Revenue has not closed their books as of yet. So because of that, they are going, oh, that's not the right one. They're going with the values that are as close as possible to what they believe it's going to be. And she recommends that we use the fiscal 23 amount until the estimated numbers are announced on the website, but that's not going to happen until sometime in April, and these have to be done by the 31st of March. So with that, again, if it ends up being, that's why I don't know the way that I wrote it. It might be good so that if it does go higher, then we know that 10% of whatever the amount we take in is going to be the amount. But right now, our total revenues that, let's see, would come in from the assessor's office is $682,000. And then Carrie estimates the state match at approximately $421,000. So that will give us a CPA estimated revenue of $1,103,000. Got that, Jess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1,103,000.
Correct. So with that, that means we're looking at that as being the total amount. If we go ahead and take 10% of that total amount, that means between those three categories, we'll be looking at $110,300 in those three categories. And now I know that we've discussed increasing the admin so that we can go ahead and have additional funds for appraisal of properties and things like that. I have the question is like, do we want to throw it there or do you want me to put it in the due diligence? So it goes back and forth. We know that we can do up to 5% of what our income or our revenues are going to be for admin. We've always done between $5,000 and $10,000. Do we want to bump it or do we want to move it over to the other? Depending upon what we put in there, then the leftover funds would go into the undesignated fund balance. And that is what I have highlighted there. Does that make sense that we can discuss about it, or did I lose everybody?
Are you
50,000
saying, go ahead, Jess.
Oh, it's just like 50,000 seems high in that.
I thought so.
administrative Expenses.
Yeah, I thought so. Because I mean, we could do, what is it? 55,150. Okay, that's the 5%. But again, jumping up from 10,000 to that, I don't really, that's a lot.
If the question is, if we do the 5%, do we need the due diligence one?
Exactly. That's the whole
So,
thing.
so why not just do 5% admin and remove the due diligence one?
That's a solution. Could we word the 5% one to also use that phrase about including due diligence?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Okay, I see people shaking their heads. I can go ahead and, well, I'm right here.
Shaking or nodding, two different
No,
connotations.
I'm nodding. They're nodding. Hold on. I
I would change,
yeah, hold on. Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
I would just take out everything such sum to be used for due diligence and just say including
mhm.
due diligence, title searches, and related administrative tasks. I don't know if we need to say including but not limited to or anything like that, but I think because it's administrative expenses that it's probably a comma after diligence.
I think the related administrative tasks would cover that.
Yep.
But we have that broadness.
Yeah.
And we'll get rid of this one.
And then I would just go ahead and make it the 5% maybe, and not like take out the not to exceed, and then
Do we want to put something in for the explanatory note?
Mm,
Because it's not just the disbursement, but it's also. No, it's administrative. That's a disbursement. So,
That's okay.
yeah. So this number here will be reduced to 696,950. Okay, I messed that one up. Does someone want to verify my numbers? See if that all adds up to,
I'm doing that.
it should add up to 1.1.
Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Janet, for preparing all of this.
That's, I felt so bad because we have a new assessor, plus also Carrie's new she's been in the accountant's office, so but she's taken over the position there. And I just told them, I said, I don't want the team to have to come back for another meeting to vote on this, but they did their best.
So
Go ahead, Jess.
that comes to $1,083,000 for me.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
added it up and came up with the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, you're probably right because I did take the 20 out. So I need to add 20 back into this. So maybe that 702 was right. What was the number I had before? Oop.
Oh, yeah, it's that 20,000. Yeah,
Hold on,
so
that's probably that one. Does that look better?
no,
No?
because it was 696. If you add in the 20,000, that would be 716,950. But Colleen and I should both check that again.
Okay,
716.
Yeah, with 716, I came up with 1.103,
1.103.
1,103,000.
That's what it should, yeah. So that's what the 716,950.
Yeah, I come back up to 1,103,000 too.
Excellent. All right, and I think I'd like keeping that 10% and the 70% less the administrative. I should put administrative expensive. I don't know if the lawyer will like that, but then this way here, we're covered if they go ahead and it increases, because I would imagine our surcharge is going to be higher than what it was last year,
Yeah.
because we do have new houses.
So can we take the vote to approve as written and adjust the numerical details if more information becomes available prior to
Second.
warrant closing, something like that?
Yeah, I think we can. I
Sounds
mean,
like you just made the motion.
I
would say I'd make it not prior to warrant closing, because that closes in a couple days, doesn't it?
and the 31st.
Or prior to the
Springtown meeting vote.
select board
Springtown
voting on
meeting.
it or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I think that would be good, because again, because Robert may say, you know what, Janet, let's leave it blank. All right, but now we know really what we want to go ahead and do, and then we can meet. Yeah. So, all right. So I think that works out good. Beth, want to make the motion again?
Yep, so I move to accept the warrant articles as discussed and reviewed this evening, allowing for the details of the quantities to change if we get updated information from accounting prior to town meeting.
All right, and Jason seconded it? Jason, right?
Yep.
All right, okay, let's do roll call. Jason,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Jess,
I,
and Chair says aye. All right, excellent. Now we're down to only 2 warrant articles. I like that instead of having, all the different ones. I really do appreciate everybody for doing that. Is there any other questions? Sarah, you all set? I just want to make sure.
I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Our next meeting is April, just what, 2 weeks away?
I think it's the 5th.
Yep, April 5th. Okay, and we got a lot accomplished. Again, thank you, everybody. If we were meeting in person, I probably would have some cookies or something like that to say thank you. So go grab a cookie and say this is from Janet. All right, let's have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Beth, get a second.
Second.
Julie, oh, Colleen. She beat you to the punch. All right, Colleen, and all in favor, Amy Buckles, right?
Yes.
Aye.
I,
Yes.
All right, again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Right.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Have a good night.
Good night, all.